Right from day one, I wanted to choose a field of medicine which would be useful to everybody, not just pediatrics or cardiology or neurology, where you would treat only that kind of super specialty. So I chose MD. MBBS was not enough. It was okay for a rural service, but for me to survive, you needed to study a little bit more. So MD was what a MD, internal medicine. Here, you could treat everybody, and the patient won't grow out of your hands. Like a pediatrician, the child grows out. Whereas here, I could look at the pediatric, I could look at the geriatric, a wide span and spectrum of patients I could see. That's how I chose medicine. So it would be useful to a broad spectrum of the society. We only wanted to serve in the rural areas. The poor and the needy is much more in those rural areas. I'm thinking back 50 years. It is now 50 years this journey has been. Both my parents would write to me when I was studying medicine that you should become a doctor, but a doctor to serve the poor. My father entirely reassured me that all my materialistic needs he will take care, but I must become a doctor to serve the rural poor. This has constantly been imbibed in me that that's what I must do. That's how the idea of a rural clinic was born. This has been an amazing journey. I'm so thrilled and so happy and feel so accomplished when I realized and look back, 50 long years have gone by. Every year, every day, every moment has been a beautiful and wonderful memory for me. We started with a small tent and a folding table. I and Hema would come from Bangalore, far away here, with a tent and a folding chair and a folding table. We had 10 medicines, basic medicines. In the beginning, we had to wait. Patients 1 or 2 would trickle in, but we consistently waited every Sunday. So the word would get round, numbers grew from 5 to 10 to 50 to 100, and it went right up to 500. That was an amazing number that made me immensely satisfied. Here was a very important, crucial thing. This is where Hema played a very, very important role. The other aspect, other than serving my patients, was totally taken care by my wife, Hema. There was absolutely nothing that I have done to take care of the family. So I would be left free to attend to my patients and to continue my service. No one has ever complained. She would drive me in the morning 6 o'clock for my morning rounds to the hospital. She would drive me at 10 o'clock to the hospital for my night rounds. And any visits in the night, I used to make so many house visits throughout the nights. That also she would drive me. She made my job very easy, me free of time, which I could utilize to my patients. So also my children, they were very cooperative. They would come with me to Begur, to this Sunday clinic. They have seen both me and Hema continue to serve. And these kids, when they helped an old man catching their hand and taking them down the steps, every elderly person would pat them on their back or touch their cheek or have a good blessing. This gave them from inside a beautiful feeling that what they were doing was the right thing. This you multiply. Every Sunday they would come and do this and collect more and more of these good feelings. Ultimately, that's what has, I think, led them to choose medicine like me. survival is the most important thing. You cannot do charity if you don't have money of your own. And looking after my paying patients who were very well off made a lot of difference. In the beginning, what I earn, I would spend here. And they were all very kind to me to help me out, and various friends of mine used to help me out in my cause of this charitable work. So that was a different aspect altogether of my practice. But I practiced and earned only to have a living which is a standard living for my family. My other aspect of my life, which was the most important for me, was to serve the rural poor who had no money. So I needed money of my own in the beginning. I had help from my parents, from my relations, and some of my good friends, and that's how I could balance these two things quite successfully. Only Hema, and then came family, and then came my team. Initially, it was just Hema and me doing everything. Without complaining, she would do everything. Imagine, she could drive, she could give IM injections, IV injections, dispense medicines, and still cook and take care of me and take care of these two little fellows. That was amazing thing that she could do. Left me free to do my work, to take care of the patients. And then my parents, they gave me immense amount of confidence. It was their desire and it was their guidance that has made me do all these things. It is their idea that village clinic was born. And then we built a team around ourselves. We knew any good job to be done well requires a beautiful team of like-minded people. I was just 6, and I used to see a lot of suffering in and around me. Father used to work in Tungabhadra project. There used to be a lot of blasting of stones, injuries. I would see them bleed and suffer. Father would carry them in his jeep right to, there was no medical facility. So virtually every day I used to see this kind of things. And suddenly one day I realized one of my friends whom I used to play with was not there. So when I asked my mother, she said she developed vomiting and loose motions and she died. So these kind of things repeatedly happening, always I had a doubt in mind, can't we do something for these people? My father and my mother both told me at that time, there's only one thing you can do to help these poor people. If you become a doctor, you can remove their suffering, you can reduce their pain. That seed they planted when I was 6 years old has grown into a huge banyan tree today. Day one, I was just 16 years. The only two places I visited was Bangalore and Mysore. So I went to Manipal to join Kasturba Medical College. One day in the evening, I just wanted to see what this street looked like. Got down, went on the only street in Manipal. There was a black board with red chalk piece letters written, wanted urgently O positive blood. So I quickly went in without hesitation, and the doctor there looked at me and he was not sure whether I am ready to give or not. I said, yes sir, I am. So he took my blood. And that was I never knew what blood donation was. But when I came out, they told me, they pat on my back and they said, you have saved a life, you have done a wonderful thing. So with so much pride of having achieved something great, I walked back to my hostel. In the evening, there was a phone call. The warden came running up telling me, there's an important call for you. So I ran down with a shaking hand. I was wondering if it was my father or mother. But on the other end, there was a very authoritative voice. And that was none other than Dr. T.M.A. Pai, the founder of the entire Manipal University, who said, "Young man, you have saved a life today. We in India needs more people like you. Congratulations." And that was my first pat on my back, which told me there is so much more to do.